age ain't nothing but a number. You said that on a post today.
Yeah, for
Halle Berry,
Yeah.
52 years old, looking great for 52, by the way.
She looks amazing for 52. Shout out Halle Berry, because she could Hold up. I feel like I'm having a dyslexic moment there. Let me rephrase that. Let me say that again.
Getting excited.
Halle Berry can still definitely get it from me. I don't know what happened there with my tongue. It was getting tongue-tied.
When
But
she's
still
80,
gorgeous,
she's going to
man.
look good.
Hey.
Oh, for sure.
90, 100.
Have you seen that 65-year-old, she's a black woman, the bodybuilder or whatnot? She looks amazing. Like, she's got just absolutely tight skin. You can't see any wrinkles on her, nothing.
Oh, word.
Sophie Loren's
Word.
another one. You ever seen Sophie Loren? Like, she looks great for her age,
Nah.
man. She looks really dope. So there's some ladies out there that really know how to maintain it and hold it together, when they get older. You know what they say, though, man. Black don't crack. So Halle Berry's definitely showing us that, and let me ask you a question.
All right.
Do you use moisturizer?
Fuck no. Do you know what's funny, though? Do you know what's funny?
Man, go ahead.
I got one Italian friend who talks to me about moisturizing, but the only other friends I ever really have talked to me
your black friends?
Yeah, I'm a black friends.
Okay.
Not even my East Indian, none of my Asian people know nothing. It's usually just my black friends.
Listen.
I got one Italian dude who's all about the moisturizer.
Have you seen the Bill Burr comedy special on moisturizer?
No.
The only reason why I brought that up is because I'm saying black don't crack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I thought about it for a second. Let me ask Maloney if he uses moisturizer. Shout out to my dude Specs One, because Specs One don't use moisturizer either. You know what I'm saying? We had a long talk about that, and it's like, wait a minute, y'all don't know what this is. You had jars of that shit in your house, I'd imagine, growing up, right? Cocoa butter?
Oh, yeah.
Moisturizer?
Yeah.
Is it really a cultural thing, moisturizer?
You don't want to be ashy.
So
right? That's what I'm saying. You don't want to be ashy.
Do you know what's funny? You said that.
that.
I was actually going to say that. Like, do you think, firstly, think black don't crack because y'all motherfuckers use moisturizer?
Absolutely.
We don't.
Absolutely.
But secondly, and do you think you guys are more inclined to use it because, like, if my skin look ashy,
how would I
it's
know?
not as noticeable.
Exactly.
I tan pretty good, you know what I mean? Like, you'd notice it on me, like, especially in the winter. My knuckles get hella ashy. Like,
right.
But I don't use moisturizer. I just got, like, hand cream and shit, you know, like shit that, like, kind of, it's like a Band-Aid to the issue, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
I have to look into moisturizer because my skin gets hella dry. But unless my ashy ass split knuckles in the winter, which you will notice, you usually don't notice it on me. You know what I mean? My elbows will be mad dry. You don't notice it. So do you think that's another reason why you guys use moisturizer?
No, absolutely. Because I don't like handling anything, especially in the wintertime. If my hands are dry, my skin's dry, I can't touch anything. I can't feel it. I can't do nothing. It's just like I feel like I just have bricks for hands.
So like it's psychological, like it bothers you inside too.
Kind of. But just like even in the morning, I was talking about this with my girl yesterday. Like in the morning when I wake up, just throw some water on my face.
Yeah.
Until I put a little bit of moisturizer on my face, I feel like a zombie. I feel like my face is all yellow and chalky and ashy, and just my eyes ain't opening properly. Once I throw it down, it's like, okay, yo, I'm alive. I got some glow. I got some blood flowing through my face. Like,
well, do you know what's crazy about that? Like myself. It don't. That's why I don't use moisturizer. I just get the hand creams and shit like that when I need them.
Put on the hands.
It don't bother me. Like, I could like my dry hands, cool, whatever. It's not until the skin starts splitting, which happens, and my lips get really bad. So I always got Blistex in there because it got that nice medicated cream and shit, But aside from that, like the shit don't bother me, except for the spots that split, which is my fingers, my knuckles, and my fucking lips. Aside from that, like I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though my skin's itchy and shit because it's dry, like literally, I've been
That's
there
why
in the
it's dry,
winter.
'cause you're not
I've been
using
there in the
moisturizer.
winter before, scratching my shoulders and like, you know what I mean? I can see dandruff coming off my shoulders because my skin's so fucking dry.
No, absolutely.
But it don't bother me. You know what I mean?
No, my cousin says it feels like if you don't put lotion on your face, it's like you smile, your face is gonna crack. No, and that's absolutely.
No, I don't feel that way at all. But you know what? I also have super oily skin. Like you look at me right now. How greasy am I?
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm greasy as shit. I didn't get to shower after work before I got here.
Well, that's definitely a thing.
I'm a greasy motherfucker.
Different cultures actually have like different kind of oils that they they kind of produce, and I guess it's kind of based on where they're from where their family's from for thousands of years. But that's definitely just an interesting thing. You know what I mean? Like I had to ask that question because I had this conversation yesterday. I've had this conversation with other friends, other white friends, and it's just hilarious.
Yo, can you restart that one? Oh no, it's dead. It's dead. All right. So we only got that angle for that.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with friends, and it's just hilarious to see their reaction. Like, I don't use moisturizer. What's moisturizer? And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? You do not use moisturizer. But I think that is a big reason why certain people, their skins, I guess they look younger at a later age.
Yeah.
It's water. Our bodies are 70% water.
Yeah.
At least 70% water, if not more, and you kind of need to moisturize your shit, and but whatever, teach his own. I just had to ask that. I had to, get that out there.
And you know what, actually? So now after talking about that, because being black don't crack actually is a stereotype, one thing I would like to discuss is because I have an Asian friend I work with, right? And we talk race and shit all the time and like fire back ideas, and like he's more racist than I am. You know what I mean? But like you wouldn't believe it. But in his justifications for shit. But so we're talking the one day, right? And he's like talking about how him and his friends joke, and he's like, yeah, I got my one white friend, like he's super racist. He always dropping Asian jokes and shit. I'm like, well, do you like drop white jokes on him? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so it's a mutual thing. It's cool. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Like you got friends where you're comfortable, you can do that. You know what I mean? I'm like, the difference is in racism, for one, the person doesn't see an issue with just saying that to somebody random. And that's like a public thought. But this is the one thing that I brought up when we started talking about it. We started talking about stereotypes. And the difference in what makes a stereotype racist or not, because like we were just talking about black don't crack, you know what I mean? Easy topic to talk about. But then when you start to talk about other things that are stereotypes, like let's say, you know what I mean? Well, like white people, like to me, I think the white people stereotypes are the funniest shit in the world. Like I laugh my ass off at them. But
what are some of the white stereotypes? I'm curious.
You never see like memes and shit like that, but like, like Dave Chappelle's the best. Anytime he talks to like a white person's in a conversation, well, I'm telling you, Jimmy, it was
just the voice.
Like all that shit. Like that to me is the funny shit in the world, because like we're not all like that. But a lot of us are stupid idiots like that. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny to me. Like I love white stereotypes. Like when people crack on white people, like I think it's the funniest shit in the world. And I see where it gets sensitive in other places. But the one thing I wanted to ask is like, what's the difference between? Because I can give you my answer after like what we discussed. But what's the difference between a racist stereotype and a stereotype that's agreeable?
If it's positive or not.
A racist stereotype would be like...
Sometimes they don't have to be positive and they're still considered racist, though. You know what I mean? Like food you eat and shit like that. Like here's an example. Sorry, not to cut you off, but the example I used, he's like, he said something about something, right? Like, and I'm like, well, here's an example. I'm like, if you're talking to black people and you're like, you love watermelon, you love chicken, right? That's racist. But if you're to talk to an Asian person and you're like, you love rice, it's actually really not that racist.
Oh, it's a foundation food.
It's a fact. You know what I mean? And that's what I said to him. I'm like, the difference in in stereotypes that are racist and not racist is how factual there are.
Well,
and I'm like, and it's not true. Not every Asian person on the planet loves rice. Like there are some that don't like it, obviously. But the large majority, that is a foundation food, right? You know what I mean? For the large majority of black people on the planet, like chicken and watermelon is not a foundational food. That comes from a different root. You know what I mean? So and that's what I tried to explain to him. I was like, to me, that's the difference but either way, continue.
Well, I would say the difference is, like a racist stereotype would be like black people like chicken and watermelon versus a true stereotype would be like black people have huge penises.
And again,
I knew you were gonna take it there.
Again, that's not.
But you know what? You know what the other stereotype is, and you are half Asian, my man.
So I balance out. I'm like 50-50 on the
scale.
Got white, I know exactly.
You got white man dick. You're a grower.
Okay, so we need to. So Maloney, no. You weren't here for the joke. So Maloney drinks a cider. It's called Growers. So asked him if he wanted a beer.
Endorse.
And he's like, no, I got some ciders. And I looked over, the name on it was Growers. So I go, so you're a grower, not a shower. And he didn't really get the joke.
I didn't get it.
And I had to break it down to him with the whole like grower versus shower thing. So shout out to the growers that are out there.
If it grows, it grows. If it grows, it grows.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Shout out to the guys who work with what they got and don't give a damn about what they got because they confident with it.
That's the way to do it.
Exactly, man. You got 10 fingers, you got a tongue, you got other options, but if you're blessed, you're blessed. Shout out to those that are blessed like myself.
Right. Any thoughts on the subject?
Like I said, if it's a positive one, and like he said, that's one of the positive ones.
Yeah, but it's a joke.
But then you got ones where Asians are smart,
Yeah.
right? That's not a negative stereotype.
Right.
But some of them still take offense to that.
I know that because they only think that everybody thinks they're this type of way.
Yeah.
But it's not technically very negative. It's like when even Jay-Z said about Jews on the record.
Right.
When he said, I can't say word for word, but why they're so successful. I'll show you how. And then the ADL was trying to get on him for that.
Which is weird, but
But I get where they're coming
from.
Well,
even, who said the line about...
what up, homie?
what line is it? Oh, on Puff Daddy, we're all about the Benjamins. Like Jada, they block out stacked chips like Hebrews. You know what I mean? Like, so like that is actually a positive stereotype, but they still take offense to it.
Yeah, or the whole thing about
I think
you hear a
there's
lot of
positive.
rap is about lawyers that are Jewish.
Yeah.
But if they are majority Jewish, the ones they deal with,
Hold on.
then what are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Are you guys Curb Your Enthusiasm fans?
No.
So there's an episode where Larry's getting. If you guys watch, I'm a huge fan. Seinfeld fans? You guys Seinfeld fans?
Yeah.
You know
So
what? I
Curb to
personally
me
not
is-
really either.
Okay, Curb to me is Seinfeld on like the best blunt you've ever smoked. Like Curb is just like it's crazy. So there's one episode where Larry's getting divorced from his wife Cheryl.
Yep.
And he goes to his lawyer. He discovers his lawyer's not Jewish, and Larry's Jewish. So he's all pissed off because this guy is like not necessarily faking it, but he's got like the horn on his desk, and his name seems kind of Jewish. Just the way his hair is cut, everything. Yeah. So Larry finds out this guy's not Jewish, and he's like, "Yo,
like
all
this guy
right.
look Hasidic and shit."
Kind of, right? So Larry dumps him and gets a Jewish lawyer to complete this divorce.
Yeah.
He winds up losing like almost everything once he goes with this lawyer, right? So I think just the stereotype that they were trying to break down in the show was like
Not every Jewish lawyer is a good one.
Exactly.
Yeah, true, right?
Absolutely.
But in rap music, the idea of the Jewish lawyer is perpetuated
It kind of
to the
is.
highest degree.
I think that would probably
Like,
be
literally.
because of who we were talking about
Exactly.
earlier,
In the
which is
mu-
Lyra Cohen, which is probably one of the most powerful men ever in the history of hip hop.
Hey.
So I think it goes back to Lyra Cohen,
Jimmy Iovine,
Iovine,
Paul Rosenberg.
The list goes on.
Paul Rosenberg, who was Eminem's lawyer, or who he was rappers' lawyers, and became he was a lawyer that became a manager, which actually happens a lot. But so I don't even know if we should take it there, but
But
if we
I don't know where you're trying to
but
take
at the end of the
it.
day, the positive stereotypes are not looked at as poorly. If you say like white men can't jump, that's one that's not a positive one.
Right.
but I think it's hilarious. We can't jump.
But that's the whole
I don't
point.
know many white dudes who could really
I don't
jump.
know, man.
And
One
you
of the
know what?
best-
Another
one of the
one.
best slam dunkers in the world right now. I don't know if you've seen his videos. There's a white dude out there who just kills it on the
But see,
slam
and that's
dunks.
why
It's like
no
the most
stereotype.
creative shit
But
I've
this
seen
is
in
why
the
no
world.
stereotype is true, because there's exceptions to the matter.
Yeah.
There's Asian people who don't like rice. There's black people who don't have big penises, and there are white people who do not talk like this, Ryan. But you know what I'm saying? It's
I feel you.
but there's exceptions to every stereotype, so none of them are completely true. So that's why I find it funny, like how certain ones. But that's how I tried. That's what. Either way, it was a conversation between me and an Asian friend, and that, like, you know, he was kind of talking his perspective, and I'm almost like, yo, you're kind of more racist than me, because like,
well,
the way you look at stereotypes and shit, I'm like
almost like it's real.
Yeah, you have to break it down, like, because he was even like giving stereotypes on other Asian cultures, and I'm like, well, that's not like necessarily true though. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, well, like it is. I'm like, but no, it's not. I'm like, there's exceptions to every rule, right? And that's when the rice thing came into play. But then I'm like, but chicken and watermelon, I'm like, that's offensive.
And a lot of Asian people love.
But you know why chicken and watermelon? Like,
no, absolutely.
But
Fried
you know
chicken
what?
probably came
I love
from
chicken and
Asia.
watermelon.
Not
But
even gonna lie.
and the thing is that.
That just reminded me of House
to
Party
me,
3.
to me, the
Chinese
difference.
people don't eat fried chicken food.
Like, to me, the difference is like rice culturally is the main, like,
It's like a staple.
It's a staple.
It's the staple. It's the starch in a lot of their meals, right?
Absolutely.
As to
It's the
where
potatoes of
watermelon
Asia.
and fried chicken is a southern fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you
that's
can't grow
a very
watermelon in Canada, can you?
No, you know that's a southern fucking like stereotype, and I think the roots of it is what makes one different than the other.
Yeah.
But see, and
feel you.
even though like. Because one's not
the roots of
necessarily
that comes from
negative.
Jim Crow culture.
Exactly, right? And that's what I'm saying. And like, it's not like I love watermelon chicken. That's not a bad stereotype, but it's the roots of it.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
the infactuality of it, right?
Absolutely.
Like when it doesn't actually speak for a majority, but it's actually more of like a slander towards what a representation of the majority should be, is what makes a stereotype negative opposed to positive. Like,
Well, you know, there's good stereotypes, there's bad stereotypes, there's stereotypes all around. You
actually,
know?
I would love to hear people, whoever's watching this, hit us with your best
Positive
white
stereotype.
stereotypes, because I will howl. I love that shit, man. I love that shit.
Absolutely. So I'm saying we should probably hit up Do.
Yeah,
Give
that's
Dio
probably a
call,
good idea.
you know?
That's probably a good
We'll
idea.
just email that. Give Dio a call. Talk about this Northern Power Summit.
You know what I'm
going
actually
on this
do?
weekend.
I'll run out for a smoke quick, and you can use my mic to talk to him.
Okay. All right. We could do that. All
I just, because if we're trying to put him on a mic and then, like, you know what I mean?
Right here like this. Like, that ain't no problem at all.
I don't know if it's going to.
We can try.
We try.
Let's give him
We
a call.
try. We try.
All right, so we're going to give Dio a call. For those of y'all watching who don't know who Dio is.
Yo, Mike.
For those
Sorry.
of y'all watching who don't know who Dio is a legendary Toronto rapper. At one point in time, he did hold the Guinness World Record for the longest freestyle ever of all time. I think it was something like 24 hours or something crazy like that. And he holds a yearly summit called the Northern Power Summit, where he just kind of gives you information to empower yourself as an artist. And, you know, as much as this is Turono Talks, we are all somehow, some way affiliated with the music industry, and we want to help our artists. So I figured, you know what, let me give my homeboy a call. Let me, let him, break down what's going on with this Northern Power Summit, and, just kind of take it from there. So let's see if Dio picks up the call here.
I literally didn't even know he was doing it. I saw the posts everywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was behind it, which is cool.
Okay, so let's give him a call. Let's see what's up. Let's see if Mr. Dio picks up.
Whew.
All right. But shout out everybody's watching, man.
Headphones, so
Thank you guys all for your comments.
It's okay.
Yeah, next time we're in here, I'll get you a pair of headphones.
No, they're right here. They're sitting right here.
Oh, you got them?
They're right here. I don't know if
they're plugged in and shit. Yo, let's try it. You know what? I think they might be. You know what? I think I had to figure this out for someone since we did this last. Yo, try it out. I think they might work. Give it a shot.
It works.
You hear it?
Yeah.
Yo, there we go. Yo, we're all good now. See, now you guys will be able to hear too. Well, Dustin already could, but you can hear when you're peaking and shit.
Yeah.
So you know what level, and you can hear when you can't hear yourself in the mic. Yeah. So it's like a constant reminder to yourself to either be closer or less.
Dio didn't pick up, so we're going to call him back in a second.
Okay.
Hey. Shout out my homeboy
I feel
Digo.
like
What's up,
now
homie?
I'm more in the studio.
What up to my cousin Lee watching? What's up? Let me text Dio and see if he is available for this call.
Word.
But yeah.
So yeah, people watching, you know what I mean? The viewership's gone down a little bit since we've been talking.
That's okay.
But you know what? Everybody watching, you know what I'm saying?
We still got to put this on the radio anyway, so we're going to get our radio listeners, which will hopefully increase the online listeners, which will hopefully increase the radio listeners, and, synergy. You know what I'm saying? It'll all work together. All right, we'll see what's up with Dio. Try to give him a call, but we could call in a couple moments.
Bring him back.
Let's that's what's up, cuz. Let's talk about that Giorgio Mammaliti comment. You guys see that shit
I didn't
Giorgio
so I didn't get to read it yet.
No?
I seen you posted it, and I seen the article, and I seen the shit that he did say, but I didn't read the whole article yet.
Well,
but
first, let me start.
And you know what's funny? It ties into something we didn't talk about last week that I wanted to, which is regentrification as well. Yeah. So this all ties in.
Gentrification is real.
So either way, break down the knowledge for the people.
All right. Well, I just want to preface this by saying I'm going to look directly into the camera. Mm-hmm. Fuck Rebel Media. You guys are shit disturbers, first and foremost. You guys are really trying to just cause shit. So fuck you guys. I've kind of been on a fuck Rebel Media tip for the last couple years. Sorry anybody watching who's, kind of watching and thinking, oh man, that's foul language. But fuck Rebel Media, because you guys are shit disturbers. Second of all, what I want to say is the protest that we had this Saturday was really successful. Very little to no.
I did want to talk about that, but we'll bring that up after.
But what happened with the Giorgio Mammaliti thing is he did an interview for Rebel Media, and he's specifically talking about Jane and Finch. And he referred to the residents as cockroaches, saying that they should be evicted from the buildings and that they should tear down the buildings in that particular area. And that these people, there's no wonder why these people are angry and why they grow up to be killers and this, that, and the other. And what I think is, that's really, really, really messed up. To refer to people as cockroaches.
I agree with you completely. I just want to ask a question before you continue. Why does he want to tear it down? Is it to regentrify? Is it to build condos?
He wants to build a more integrated.
Continue with your point. We'll follow up on this
complex. After. So, one, referring to people as cockroaches, that's just completely dehumanizing those people. Two, to classify an entire area and pretty much say you need to razz this entire area. These people pretty much saying no wonder they grow up angry and they go on and kill people and this, that, and the other. You're just classifying an entire area. You're just saying the whole area is scum. You're saying that there's nobody in that area who's of any decency or anything of that nature. When there are plenty of people who've grown up in that area who are decent, and they're probably, I would say 90%. If to not 95% people who are more decent than the 5% who are indecent. You know what I'm saying? Like just how it particularly is. But the main thing is when politicians start, and again, there was another politician who came out and said some similar stuff this weekend as well. And when these politicians start catering to just that type of attitude, and start saying that stuff, it kind of gets really, 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 really nasty. And we're seeing that in the South.
It's the most dehumanizing thing in the world.
Right.
And I'm not glad, but I like how it tied into actually something that I really wanted to talk about that we were discussing before the show last week.
Right. Yeah.
And it ties right into it, and it is regentrification. In my opinion, so firstly, this is my example I like to build on, just like, give people groundwork for, because, people in our generation, they don't even realize, if you don't learn your history, you're doomed to repeat it, right? And you have to understand history to understand why things are the way they are. Everybody grows up in this world we live in, and they're like, things are the way they are.
Absolutely.
I know they're like this because someone before us thought better. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even think about it. But when you learn why a lot of things are the way they are, you're like, this is for a fucked up reason. You know what I mean? So, and this is
what the root cause.
Exactly. Because everything builds from a root cause, and then it continues, right?
Well, I think we're in the industry of not solving problems at the root cause. We're just in the industry of kind of like applying topical
Band-Aids.
Right,
you know what? And that is a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. Because we could talk about GMOs. We could talk about Big Farm. We could talk
but I'm
about.
just talking socialitical.
I know, but I'm saying Band-Aid is the way of capitalism. And this is a whole nother thing. Like, we almost need a whole other app. I'm gonna write that shit down. Where's the pen? Band-Aid. Band-Aid.
No, Band-Aid.
Remind me, Band-Aid. Nellie's face. Nellie's face. Yeah, we gotta remember that. That's like a whole conversation.
Solution problems.
But what we were discussing though was regentrification. And so what, like, the thing I think is crazy is, okay, so firstly in Toronto is to me, watching half a Regent get torn down, to me was just like disgusting. Because firstly, Regent Park is the first project.
They were.
And I don't know about the world, but North America. So when you look at what happened with the Cross Bronx Expressway in New York City and stuff, and the way that they treated the Italians and Irish and Polish people differently than the black people, and the black people and the Latino people and the segregated colored people got to live in these fucking compiled houses they live. All of these blueprints and maps were built actually from the
Toronto.
first projects we built, Regent Park.
Now,
crazy. I think it's fucked up when you create this type of a system and then what, now all of a sudden, because it's more beneficial to build a skyscraper there and it's more profitable for the city and white people who got fucking money, you're gonna be like, all right, well, you know what, we can justify taking these people out and tearing them down. Like, see, to me, I'm like, all right, firstly, I don't agree with projects. I don't agree with that shit to begin with.
That's 100% true.
But if you're going to have this type of system and this is something you're going to implement, then you got to live with the fucking repercussions. You can't come into someone's neighborhood and be like, you got to move now.
Well, there's one place we could look at. Chicago. What happened after they tore down the Cabrini and Green projects? What happened after 2002, 2003? They tore down those projects. The crime went through the roof because what happens is you're dispersing people who were involved, let's say, in that particular, but they live in one particular. Some.
No, I'm using that just as a loose term. This is how they think.
But they're dispersing some people who live in a particular area who are involved in a particular life, and now they have to move out to other areas, and they have to kind of like, you know, reintegrate themselves. You know what I mean? And it caused a huge explosion in Chicago as far as crime, you know? And if they're to go in and, let's say, tear down Gentrification, where are those people going to live? Where are those people going to move? They're going to have to move to
migrate
other parts
somewhere.
of this. Exactly.
Now, what
That's
happens
what
a lot of times,
Regent Park, right?
But what happens in a lot of times in a controlled regentrification,
right,
is like what happened with the Cross Bronx Expressway.
Right.
They offer, in that case, they offered people who weren't as dark better opportunities than the people who were.
Right.
Not saying maybe this is the
more money.
Not saying
more money coming.
Well, they got compensation as to where a lot of the colored families actually didn't get the compensation.
Right.
And they got offered spots that were in like southern New Jersey or what, like, you know what I mean? Like they were still far away, more outskirts, but it was like they got compensated for it, as to where the colored people, a large majority of them, they built up these large domiciles. I'm not going to compare them to prisons exactly, but they're very similar in a, like, if you think about a way of life you got to live, a very fucking, very, very bland fucking cement, concrete fucking slab of apartments. And you just cram a bunch of people into it. Like, firstly, if you're going to put that many people living in a building, unless they're people paying for a condo who got money, like, if you're putting the people who have nothing all together in a fucking, it's going to be a melting pot. You have no other choice but it to become a high crime rate. But the thing, I think it's conscribed because these people wanted it. They're going to kill each other because one big point, and something Trey D said in an interview with Vlad, but something Trey D said, and that really resonated with me too, is that proximity is the cause of most crimes. And that's why a lot of times in the black or the black Latino communities, which are largely populated, is people killing each other because everything's proximity. So you're not going out to fucking Forest Hills or whatever to rob the fucking people when they're not home because you're stuck in your neighborhood. You might not even got money to get on the fucking bus to get to that neighborhood. Let alone, you know what I mean? But what you can see in your immediate reach is dude on the corner with the gold chain who you know has been hustling for 5 years. You know what I mean? And it might not be that hard for you to conscribe with a homie or two to get a Glock or something and, you know, pull something off. You might not have it, but you and a couple, you know what I mean? But proximity is everything.
Well, what I want to say, too, is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just to finish the point, was just like, with the Cross Bronx Expressway, they almost like perfectly conscribed it. So like certain people go to a certain area where they can just attack themselves, and then the rest of these people, we're going to put them in other areas, and we're actually going to give them compensation. If anything, it should have been vice versa. These people should have got the fucking compensation. But no, we'll give you subsidized housing, and instead of compensating you, and we'll give these, you know what I mean? Well, but that's how it's conscribed. But with something like, what you say in Chicago, I just think it's nuts, because if you're going to pull this type of system, you got to, like, you don't
expect it to be the way it is.
You're just dispersing them everywhere. You didn't give nobody nothing, because you've already probably created this community from some sort of regentrification prior in the past. And so now you got all these concentrated people here who have not much going for them, you know what I mean? And now you're just going to disperse them. Now that's like...
Well, I want to say another problem,
too. You got people with opportunity everywhere now.
You expect something good out of them.
Like, that's ridiculous. But I think it's ridiculous in a full, regardless.
No doubt. And another problem, too, is like, when you start to regentrify and people come into your neighborhood who have more money, but some of the people still stay behind because they see some opportunities, i.e., let's say, a few of the drug dealers. Now you're dealing with a neighborhood that has more money. So instead of selling...
street morals.
No, not even just that. So instead of, let's say, selling, rock... making your money off rock. Now you got people who want the powder, but they want bigger quantities of the powder. Now you got people who want heroin. They want bigger quantities of heroin. So now it becomes bigger market. However, now that it's a bigger market, some of those same people who were in that neighborhood before, who that was their territory, they want back in. They want a bigger slice of that, right? So now you create bigger drug wars because in suburbia, drugs aren't looked at the same.
Right there. That's
drugs,
science.
In suburbia, drugs, cops will shoot it aside. That's why you have bigger opiate problems there.
And there's no such thing as turf wars in suburbs.
Absolutely, right? But now all of a sudden you have people from the suburbs coming down because this area has been gentrified. They want the suburb drugs. The suburb drugs bring the suburb drug money. You have these local drug dealers who were selling, stuff that was accessible to people who had the money in the area they lived. Now you have people who got big time money, right? That creates drug wars. You understand what I'm saying? So that's something that people don't even look at. If they're going to gentrify Jane and Finch, that's going to probably create a bigger drug war than they even realize. They have to start looking at what's in that area. Who's going to come in? You're going to get, a lot of younger, white kids, and it's nothing bad about it, but they spend more money, let's say, on cocaine. And they'll do it very nilly-willy compared to somebody who doesn't have 80 to drop on a gram. These guys have 250 to drop on an 8-ball. You know what I'm saying? That's big money to somebody who's only used to selling little $10 stones.
That's facts right there. So, that's science, yo.
Absolutely. People don't think about that. That's what happens in places like Chicago. That's what happens, all over.
Since they cleaned up downtown, their Lansdowne and Parkdale and all that stuff, it went from being asked for food to being asked for cocaine. I don't sell drugs, never sold drugs. And I was like, looking at the shift, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy.
And you're like, this is weird. What are you asking me for now?
I thought they cleaned up the neighborhood, and they're still asking me for drugs. But it's just the customers are different.
Absolutely. Bro, I get asked for Percocets, and I'm like, what are you talking? Do I look like someone that perks? Like, I used to get asked for weed on the regular, to get asked for, where's the food? Where's the perks? I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? But that's what happens when you start having regentrification.
Drugs is always going to be a part of society, unfortunately.
Most definitely. But in the suburbs, drugs are not really looked at as a big problem as they are in the urban city. Because when you live in the suburbs, chances are you know more of the people. You know the local authorities. They're not going to come after you for something that they did when they were younger themselves. You know what I mean? They don't see a potential perp. They see more somebody that they know in
But
a
when they come downtown to work,
they're
everyone's a
perps.
perp.
Exactly. They don't know you.
Now,
it's millions of people.
And that's when they start
talking about this too.
People.
Once again, every time I talk about white people, because I'm not gonna lie, I know white people. Firstly, I don't even like to identify as white, but just to put it in a simple no, not even that. Actually, Caucasian, the term of that comes from it comes
from the Caucasus Mountains.
Well, exactly. It comes from a German ideology, not scientifically based. There's one idiot. He's like, well, I think white people, almost like Hitler ideology. But it was like, these people are the most beautiful people. So he decided that white people, who are actually the most unnatural people, we came from the Caucasus Mountains. And it's this unscientifically based fucking nonsense. So Caucasian isn't even the word. What I like to identify is Polish, English, Irish, Canadian. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking all over the place. Like, you know what I mean? But the only reason I say white is because so many white people just simply identify as white and don't think about their history. Right?
It goes back to our stereotype thing.
Exactly.
That's just what society
but the one thing, what you guys are just talking about, and it's about like, you know, the gentrification, the white kids movement and stuff like this. It actually made me think of a question, which I think is a valid question. Which either way, I could share my opinion on it after. But do you think white people like to shift the blame to other cultures and ideologies of people for their own problems?
Depends what the problem is.
Well, there's a great example right there. So you guys are talking about the white guys moving their neighborhood. Now they got coke, they got this stuff and stuff. We want to, you know, like mainstream white America wants to depict, you know, colored people as the drug dealers, the this, the that. It's like, it's almost like they shift the blame of something like, because are white people, to my at least I would say so. I would like to know your guys' opinion. But white people are the most fucked up people on this planet. All the people who do the most fucked up crimes, who chop people to shit with axes.
You're fucking I did not.
The people who do the most fucked up crimes, they chop people with axes and they eat their flesh and they do all this fucked up shit. It's white people, man. White people are these like psychotic.
On that same note, though. You could look at
and they
the
don't
horoscope.
like to take blame.
No, hold on. At the same time,
though, stereotypes, but.
Okay, we're going into stereotypes. Now you said that you're a Caucasian, you're a white, you're a WASP. We'll call it white Anglo-Saxon. But what I want to say is, at the same time, because you're mentioning like axe murderers and all this stuff, I saw a list. And most of these guys were like Virgos, Geminis, and Sagittarius.
Oh, it had more to do with astrology.
So I think it might have to do it might have to do more with astrology.
People overlook astrology.
Sorry, I shouldn't pop in the mic. That might have to do more with astrology than it has to do more so with a particular race of people. Like if you look at the list of like the serial killers, they're all like I think only 3 astrological signs. That to me is a little bit more weird than per se the color of these particular serial killers.
And you know what? Astrology.
Is it you're born in a particular time? You're more, what is it, Mars retrograde? You want to go out and murder
And you know
somebody?
what? The thing is, we only have 13 minutes, but I think that's, once again, so Band-Aids and astrology, 2 topics we have to discuss because astrology is so deep. All religions in this world pretty much are based on astrology.
Right?
So that is a huge conversation for us to have. But even still, just to remove the astrology from it, because that's very interesting. So we'll have to talk about that when we do bring this back up. But look, man, look at all the fucking weird people, man. Are fucking white people, man. I'm telling you. But yet white media wants to project that these people are evil and these people kill people and these do that. Like,
I'll put it.
I think the scariest thing is a fucking white person, man. They'll fucking do some stupid shit to you for no fucking reason. They're fucking they can find justifications and reasons for the dumbest shit. They like, stand
your ground.
I'll put it like this. It's debatable. The thing is, when a system is set up a certain way for people to think a certain way, to believe that they're
that's why I think so many of them think that way.
I don't put it on the mass of white people. I put on the conditioning.
I agree.
That it comes down.
I do agree. It comes to conditioning. 100%.
They don't know better because they're in a system that, you know, they think is for them.
Well, do you know what another thing I think is too? Is the fact like how many really poor white people are the people who do these fucked up crimes like Jeffrey Dahmer's and shit. I think a lot of times it's people that were maybe not fully privileged, but had that white privilege. You know what I mean? Like middle class in a time when a lot of people weren't middle class. Things of these kind of natures. Like I think you really need to be someone, because like what they say, idle hands do the devil's work. And I think you need to be someone who sits there with not a lot of time, like not a lot going on and a lot of time on your hands to really want to start like cutting into people and fucking doing all this weird shit and tying people up and fucking chaining people up and fucking eating skin and shit. Like, who the fuck thinks to do that shit?
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie.
Check. I'm not trying to fucking tie you up in my fucking, like, you know what I mean?
Of all the horror movies I've ever watched in my life, I think Candyman was the only one that had a black protagonist.
It was.
That's the only one. It's always... You might be onto something here, Maloney, but you said it, not me.
Yo, white people are fucked up, man. And one thing I like that Lord Jamar says is he refuses to use the word white supremacy when talking about people who push a white agenda. He calls it white insanity. And I think that's very real. White insanity, I think, is very real. I know so many white people right now who I've had debates with, heated with, and they're partly who that post I made was about. But you know what I mean? I know so many people who are going to like watch this and be like, you fuck you, like, fuck you, Malone. Almost, you know what I mean? these people won't
pandering.
And these people won't even consider themselves racist, but they're gonna be like, "What? Like you're being racist towards your own people?"
I think anyone can be a serial
firstly,
killer,
you ain't my people because we're all different fucking cultures. We just consider ourselves this one holy fucking stupid thing.
Have you ever studied stats of serial killers from other parts of the world? Though, do they exist in other parts of the world?
I know.
I'm
pretty sure Western civilization and like Europe and Britain are the homes to most serial killers. They don't really exist in many other countries. That's why I don't think you hear about them. Genocides happen, things happen, but everything has a purpose. Like in other places in the world.
He's from the UK, right? Jack the Ripper. Yep. He was the first, if I'm not mistaken.
But the UK was on the Western world tip before we even were. You know what I mean? We're just like a reprint of that on another continent.
But let's be honest. If Bruce Lee had got pissed off, he could have killed 100 motherfuckers and nobody would have been able to do anything to him. So shout out to Bruce Lee for not.
Hey, shout out to Bruce Lee for not being crazy. But you know what? They did get his son, the Crow.
Yeah, man. Oh, rest in peace, Brandon Lee.
I said that in a line years ago, like Brandon Lee killing MC during his act.
Oh, wow. Do you think that family's cursed? The Lee family?
You know what? I think personally, you know, this is going back to dismantling and stuff.
Theory guy, so.
No, I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm a conspiracy guy.
You're a conspiracist.
I don't believe when Jay-Z throws up the rock, it's an Illuminati sign. And I don't believe all these outlandish conspiracy theories people put out. See, and that's why I like to I think there's a defined difference in a true conspiracy and a conspiracy theory. But an agenda, once again, that has been pushed by white mainstream media in the Western world for the last, at least since Bush's fucking, the whole 9/11 shit, if not even before that, was anytime someone said something about the government, a huge thing that was pushed on like different media outlets. And you can look, like, there's a history of the word the combination of conspiracy theory. Because people, their brains are very simple. You relate things to things, right? Like, what's a 2-word combo? Like, 6-pack. You know what I mean? You think of muscles or you think of beer.
A 6-pack.
But you know what I mean? Right. 2 words can become a combination of almost a single word. And what was done is, I believe there was a huge thing when, you know, especially in the time of the internet, when people could start finding information more freely, and people who spoke out a bit about information they knew. There was a huge campaign put out through mainstream media, Viacom, via all these types of things, where conspiracy theory needed to be a bundle package. You couldn't talk about a conspiracy anymore. The only time you talk about conspiracy is if it's conspiracy to murder or conspiracy to drug trade. But aside from that, conspiracy had to be bundled with the word theory. Okay. And then as conspiracy theory becomes, and now when you hear the word conspiracy, you think more of conspiracy theory. Like, you don't even relate it to an actual conspiracy anymore.
So you automatically assume, like, kind of like a crazy sense of the person. The person talking about the conspiracy, you automatically assume they're crazy because
it's mental ideology. It's brainwashing.
You've embedded the thought conspiracy theory.
And that's something that, like, and there's big, like, you can read articles on this and stuff, and like the usage of that pairing of words, and it's very deep. Like, there's a deep history in it. And it's like, it's actually very real. And human minds are very simple. It's not hard to control us.
There's a movie Mel Gibson did called Conspiracy Theory with Julia Roberts.
Yeah,
I know it's crazy.
And that's a good movie.
I like that movie. That was a good movie.
See, the thing was, sorry, not to cut you off. Remember your point, but the one thing I want to say is a very valid point is this. There's a difference between a conspiracy and a conspiracy theory. A conspiracy exists if there is factual. Not even, it doesn't even have to be proof yet. But if there's, it's like in a court of law. If you're to accuse somebody of murder, if you're gonna accuse somebody of murder, but you don't have physical evidence, you can book enough evidence, plausibility. Exactly, it has to do with plausibility.
Reasonable doubt,
now, if there's a reasonable doubt, is exactly what I'm looking for.
Reasonable doubt is how you would get out of it, but
that's exactly what I'm looking for. If there's enough ideology behind an idea, that can't be proven without reasonable doubt, like, you then have a conspiracy. It's not a theory, because it's not a theory if there's enough evidence stacked up against the ideology of it. And that's the difference. Everybody looks, when you have a conspiracy, they're like, oh, well, conspiracy theory. But it's not that. A conspiracy theory is an idea based on something that you don't have the factual evidence to back up to have an actual conspiracy to fight against. It's just a theory. And that's why I don't believe in all this stupid shit like Jay-Z throwing up the diamond and certain shots and videos is Illuminati ideology. Illuminati is not a real thing. Illuminati is what stupid people use to point a finger at the 1%.
Definitely exist.
Yeah, Masons exist. All these things exist, but they exist in different levels. Like
there's a Mason lodge right by my house.
There is. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is these things exist, but they don't exist in the way people look at them. Like people look at like Freemasons and the Illuminati is this magical force that runs everything in the world. No, central banking systems is this magical force. Yeah. They influence all the powerful people around the globe and have been ever since they funded both sides of the war with France and fucking Britain in fucking 1794 or whatever. Yeah. But either way, like, this is what the Illuminati is. It's central banking systems. Yeah. It's the 1% of people in the planet that control most of the wealth. Yeah. This is what the Illuminati is, but people are so dumb to fucking research and look at shit that's factual. They're like, oh, it's Illuminati. Yeah. It's the boogeyman. It's the boogeyman. It's when you lose shit around your house and it's a ghost. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a fucking scapegoat.
It's just the ability to blame somebody other than yourself for something that you can't understand or you can't fully comprehend and break down.
Exactly.
Absolutely. No, I agree, man. They exist. And you know what? I've done my research on the Illuminati and the Masons. I love doing research on the Illuminati.
They're alchemists.
It's entertaining as hell.
Yeah. They're alchemists.
I would like to think that I'm an alchemist. Like The Alchemist is my favorite book. Shout out Paulo Coelho. I've read that book at least 5 times in my life, and I try to read it at least once every 18 months to recenter myself. Yeah. So anyone out there who's never read The Alchemist, go read that book. And alchemy is the ability to turn lead to gold. Like that's the literal meaning of alchemy.
I used that in a punchline once too.
Right.
You know, writing rhymes to go gold.
The Alchemist is also a dope producer.
Like,
but you know, it is what it is. Just the ability to blame somebody for something you can't comprehend.
That's exactly it.
But what I'm learning,
those are conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. But what I'm learning here in this conversation is that you are definitely the conspiracy dude of this trio here.
Oh yeah,
you like to go deep.
No, you know what? Things don't happen for no reason. A lot of people like to get benefit of the doubt, and even the same way we talk about Public Enemy being dismantled. That's why I disagree with you 100%, because there's no way you're gonna have a government, and it's not even the government; it's higher than the government. Like the CIA is the secret operatives of the fucking 1% of the planet. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to answer to any laws; they do what the fuck they want.
Which is why this whole like Trump versus the CIA thing is kind of weird, because the CIA is
he's not 1%.
Everybody in
what people don't realize about
Trump.
He
is 1%.
No, he's not. People
think the 1% of the 1%.
No, people think no.
He comes from wealth.
Trump is not near as rich as people think. Did you know over 80% of the buildings in the world that have Trump's, but over 80% of the building, like people look at him like he's a real estate god. No, he's not.
You
what he
are
did
not a Christopher
is he
Nolan
created.
fan.
No, he created a business off of his name, and that's what he did. 85%, if not more, of the buildings on this planet that have Donald Trump's name on it, he does not own a single piece
Maloney.
of. He fucking leases his name.
Let me cut
for
you
a
off.
Paycheck. It's like a commercial.
Let me cut you off really quick. What industry are you involved in?
Hip-hop.
All right. Now, have you ever watched a movie called The Prestige?
No.
Okay, you need to sit down and watch this movie tonight, because what it's going to teach you more so than anything, it's not what you do, it's how you present it to the people and what you get them to believe.
Word.
So regardless if this man was worth negative $1 million,
what you just said is exactly.
The fact he can present himself to say, I'm worth $10 billion in the world, believes that he pulled it off. It's the prestige.
Yep.
That's what most of the people, that's what 99.9% of the people do not get in this world.
Word.
It is not
that's
what
facts.
you do, it is how
you present it.
You do it. It's how you present it. It is the image that you
know
pull
what?
off. You can if you can pull off and make people believe something even though that's not what you are, you can conquer and con the world at the same time. It's the prestige. That's all it is.
No, you know what? That's true.
You need to watch that movie.
That's true facts.
That is
true
what
facts.
he is the master
and he is a
of
master
doing.
of that. But the only thing I was arguing is saying he's not part of the 1%. He doesn't have enough wealth to match up with these people. Like when you read
he is now.
No,
it doesn't matter
not,
what
man.
he does.
No, he's not.
But it doesn't matter what he does for the rest of his life. His family for the rest of their lives will have public service protection.
Exactly.
They will be etched in the book
point
of,
I'm making,
whatever.
Like,
I'm not a fan of
he's
his,
still not 1% though. Like you got to think about it like this. You know when Woodrow Wilson signed over the rights of the American printing to the Federal Reserve Act back in 1913?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly.
No,
that sounds about right.
It happened. Yeah. It happened when Congress is actually 80. I think it was 65 to 80% of them were on actual Christmas vacation. He signed it on like December 23rd or some shit. So most of Congress wasn't even there. Yeah. He sold this. He sold the rights of the printing of the American money over to the Federal Reserve. And this is not conspiracy theory. This is fact. Like you can research this. And this is why I say like Illuminati is a blanket. It's a scapegoat. Yeah. But either way, he signed it over. But do you know what it was sold over to? It was sold over to, like, as a corporation, like something on the stock market. It was sold over to 200 shareholders. Do you know what the difference is between this and a lot of businesses?
No.
Well, I think maybe laws have changed, but either way, these shareholders are private and to this day have not had to release their identity. So there are 200 people who invested in the wanting to print America's money.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, the printing of America's dollars is done by the Rothschild family in London City.
I wonder how many shares they own in that 200. Maybe they own all of them. The thing is, we don't know.
That's possible.
The Federal Reserve, which prints American money, which is the money, the monetary standard we trade oil in, we trade petroleum in, which makes it the currency of the planet. It makes it the currency of the planet, and it is controlled by a private shareholder of 200 individuals.
I'm gonna look that up.
That is it. And that is absolutely insane. And if you look, people always talk about America's debt to China. They talk about all this. If you look, you can look. There's pie graphs online. You can look. Every single year, America owes at least more than, like, they might owe China, let's say on an annual basis, is 20 to 25% of their 100% of debt is owed to China. It's always almost usually double, if not more, to their own banking system, the Federal Reserve. They borrow money and it gets printed off for them. And you know what happened? When Nixon took them off the gold stamp, off the gold back, they no longer had to put up assets. And that's why Fort Knox has not been counted. The gold in Fort Knox has not been counted since 1952. Wow.
This guy knows his numbers.
These motherfuckers are playing with monopoly money, and the world is trading monopoly money. Now, that's the crazy shit about it. But this is what that's the point I'm making here, is that those 200 motherfuckers who own that printing system and just that country alone, they got a lot more money than your Bill Gateses, your Jay-Z's, all these people that fucking media wants to put out as the rich people. And that's why I say Donald Trump is not even anywhere near the fucking 1%.
I get that. No, he's not as far as the wealth.
He's definitely working for him.
As far as where he's gonna be, for the rest of his life.
He's an agenda. He's an agenda.
I'm not a fan of the guy, but at this particular point in time, like his family's legacy will be up there. You know what I mean? Like he accomplished something that no one ever accomplished.
No disrespect. J and Bay got a legacy, but they're never touching the 1%. You know what? But
Jay-Z's
that being said, I want to give a big shout out
to
it doesn't matter. People who buy shit like that are flaunting. You know what I mean? I bet you the 200 people with the private shareholders of the Federal Reserve, I bet you half of them have fucking mansions that are 20 times bigger than Jay-Z's, like Rothschilds and shit. I bet you the other half live in fucking, like, condos. You know what I mean?
No, but Jay-Z's literally, him and Beyonce literally just bought the third biggest house in the United States of America.
But that's like, it's that street in them still. They're like, we got to flash on you. We can afford to flash on you this hard now, so we're gonna. But, like, you know,
when I can afford my Audi,
the richest people don't do that. They don't flaunt. That's why you don't know who the fuck they are. That's why their names are private when they own literally the most profitable banking system in the world. We trade oil off of
Maloney's going in today, bro. He's pissed. He's going in on
the planet is monopoly, man. It's a fucking joke. It's a sham.
No, the thing that kills me, though, is like you see a stat and it's like this world is like $25 billion or $25 trillion in debt. It's like, in debt to who, man? We don't owe no money to no
200
aliens.
idiots.
We don't owe them to Marks. 200, yes. Well, to those 200 idiots, you guys are idiots. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if I say anything more than you guys are idiots, I might wind up dead.
Hey,
so
right?
you guys are idiots.
You know
That's
what I mean? But we're at the end of our
Other
program
than
now,
Rothschild.
so everybody, let the people know who you are once again, and promote anything you got going on, and we'll bounce out.
Yeah.
Dustin Wareham, DJ D's Nuts, 80s favorite babies all day. We got a show coming up next Friday at the Rock Pile West. DJ Ace is judging. I'm trying to win a show to New York. You know what I'm saying? So support. I'm trying to do that. And then on the 25th, I'm doing a show for my boy Chief Rekka. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. It's his album release party. So we doing that. I think that's out somewhere in Scarborough. But that's what we up to for the next couple days. And yeah, man, hit me up online. And what you got coming up?
Sorry, man. Mike Stoan. The event is this Saturday. It's a 420 pop-up shop.
Yeah, I want to come to that.
Edibles, accessories, etc. It's RSVP. It's free. Get high. Buy some edibles. It's gonna be dope.
And the Power Summit.
And Dio, we tried to call you, but you didn't answer. Yeah. So hopefully just come in person like next week or something. We want to talk to you still. But either way, Breaking Records Radio, your host Maloney, every Saturday, 8 p.m., Tuesday, 2 and 10 p.m. That's www.maximumfm.ca. There's the link
Jackson.
right motherfucking
Shout out Mike Boogie.
My ugly ass head. You know what I mean? White people are fucked up in their heads.
Hey, we didn't say that.
I ain't put nothing on you. I ain't put nothing on y'all. I ain't put nothing on y'all.
No. Get us on camera. We didn't say that. We did not make that comment at all. This man made that comment. He's the one who made that comment. Don't put that on us at all, baby. Don't put that on us.
That's me.
Oh Lord,
you know what I'm saying?
Jesus Christ!
You can repeat that.
I don't believe.
Not make that
but the
comment,
thing is, I don't
homie.
believe in white. White's nonsense. That's just stupid. You know what I mean?
Just leaving lacking pigment.
No.
All the race classifications are ridiculous.
They're all ridiculous. Everything's cultural. You are what you are, and that's it. Black doesn't exist. White doesn't exist. Yellow, red, none of this shit exists. Your cultural, your culture exists.
No, absolutely, man. I make my friends based on who makes me laugh. You guys make me laugh. Exactly. You guys are my boys. You know what I'm saying? That being said, you guys are my boys, and I would love to smoke a blunt with y'all after we're done recording this.
Yeah, let's get it. So thank you, people, for listening. We'll hit y'all next week. Turono Talks, and don't pronounce the T, motherfucker.
Turono Talks, baby. One love. Peace.